Okay, this is going to be kind of a part two to the Doctor Sleep update I did. That whole movie is kind of like my life. This is kind of the way that my strange happenings work. It's just like that. It's just like that on an even bigger scale. It's if that's believable. And talking about believable and crazy and all that kind of stuff, that there are spoilers in here for the movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, you probably don't want to watch this until after you see the movie. Because these are spoilers too. But there's a scene, so turn this off and watch the movie first. But there's a scene in there where Dan is riding with his friend to go to that industrial complex to dig up a body kind of thing. But the friend is talking about how unbelievable, how totally crazy all this sounds. Is completely crazy. I mentioned this on most of my videos on the strange happenings. This is crazy. I want to believe I'm crazy. This is the only way I can deal with it, is think I'm crazy. And the friend's like, yeah, but if it's not crazy. And then Dan responds like, then it's even worse. And that's the point of all of this. If I want to believe I'm crazy, that all this is crazy, it's completely crazy, because if it's not, it's even worse. So you do want to believe you're crazy and convince yourself that you're crazy. Because if it's not, it's worse. Even for what I'm not putting out here on video and not going to put out here on video, it's worse. So there's that. There's a scene in the movie that's kind of neat where Abra, the little girl, is standing in the street by herself, and there's kind of the it's not a hologram, but it's an astral projection, kind of a shadow of the Rose Lady standing in the street. And the little girl does not give in to fear and walks through it. I've done that many times with different entities and things like that. So many times done things like that and then just walk through it, but you don't give in to fear. Along this same topic, this isn't in the movie. I don't think they brought it up in the movie. Maybe they hinted at it somewhere. I just didn't really, I don't know where it would have been in the movie. I don't know. But the thing about fear and people like me, with these kind of entities, if you give into fear, it increases their power. I guess that's the scene of them eating fear and pain and stuff like that. But if you give into that, it increases their effect, their power. It increases them to where they can have more of a presence, do more in the environment, make more of an impact, do more on their part. So if at least people like me, so if I have that weird feeling in a house of a haunted or something weird, or that chill of your shoulder that people feel, that thing, but with me, if I start pulling that in and giving into it and really focusing on that and feeling it and letting it build, it builds in a negative way. That fear and everything else builds. It just keeps building until it starts interacting with other things in the world. So that's something you cannot give into, is fear. And so I love that scene when she just walks through and the shadow disperses. And that's the way to deal with it, the best way to deal with it. Because if you give in, it gets more powerful. Also, finally, just another quick little note, talking about all these entities and things like that. And it's so scary looking at that. And it is scary sometimes. Most of these kind of battles I've been in have been 1-on-1 or 2-on-1 or something like that. Smaller battles with these entities. There was a time in my life, I was in my mid-20s, graduated college, was in my adult career, actually working for the EPA at the time in Dallas, Texas. So I had an apartment in Dallas, Texas, and I was still going through some trial and error stuff on these kind of entity things and battles. And I had opened myself up and let myself be open to this. Unfortunately, they seemed to lock on to where I lived and knew where I was. And instead of it being a one-on-one kind of thing, it was massive groups constantly coming at me in this apartment. So much that I couldn't keep up with it. I couldn't do it all. It was just too much for me to handle, this many coming at me all at once, just big groups instead of one or two or even three. It was large groups hitting me at once. And I had to move out of the apartment. And my wife knows this. I talked to her about it. And it's like, this is why I have to move out of this apartment. I can't take it. I can't. It's too much. They found me. And one of my things is, growing up and through all of my strange happenings, is I've been really, really good at hiding. Just really good. It's kind of a specialty if you want to call it that, but I'm really good at hiding and not being seen for all this kind of stuff. So I learned how to do that at a very, very young age. If you've caught that in some of my early videos on strange happenings, I learned at a very good early age how to hide and keep myself hidden from these kind of entities when I want. And so I've been really good at that. But at that time, I had opened myself up, and it was too much to take, and had to move out of an apartment in Dallas, Texas. And my wife knows this, and that was in my mid-20s. So that movie, yeah, anybody who wants to kind of get an idea what my strange happening in life is like, watch Doctor Sleep.